Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to discuss Hadith number 12. It's based on communal conduct. It is from your O Levels Islamiyat 2058, and from your paper 2 it's usually the question number 1. Now let me read out the Hadith. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. بعث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأبا موسى ومعاذ بن جبل إلى اليمن وبعث كل واحد منهما على مخلاف ثم قال يسر ولا تعسر وبشر ولا تنفر. The messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent Abu Musa and Muad bin Jabal to Yemen, and he sent each of them to govern apart. Then he said, be gentle and do not be hard, and cause rejoicing and do not alienate. Now, teachings within the Hadith. What is this Hadith teaching us? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching the code of conduct of leaders, imams, governors of a Muslim society. Now, this is very important in the society that today we are living in. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching the code of conduct of leaders. Now just imagine the code of conduct of our leaders, of our societies, the imams of the mosques, or any imam, school of thought, governors of a Muslim society. Just imagine the governors. Are they following this hadith or are they not? And so the code of conduct is taught for these in a broader aspect, can be applicable to the head of any institute. Head of any institute could be an institute in the form of a university, an institute in the form of like police or the army, or a school or a firm, working where you're working, an international firm, and how they manage their subordinates. In a broader aspect, this hadith is applicable to the head of any institute, firm, and how they manage their subordinates. Who are subordinates? The people who work under you. The head is being taught to be easy and not be harsh. What do we see in our society? It's totally opposite. So nobody's following this hadith. The head is being taught to be easy and not be harsh with their subordinates. A huge lesson to be learnt, as usually people in authority exploit others under them. In other words, their subordinates, their staff, their students, their home help. This is a huge lesson to be learned. What is the lesson to be learned? That usually people who are in authority, slight authority, what do? They exploit people who work for them. How do they exploit? They're exploiting their staff. They've been employed to work 6 hours, and they'll be making them work for like 10 hours. They'll be given homework. Students are exploited. People make students work for them. Home help, you're paying them just for one work, but then you give them multiple chores during the day. That is also exploiting home help. Being easy applies to talk, attitude, workload, and feedback. Like, how will you be easy? Like when you're talking to them, talk to them easy, have an easy, your attitude should be easy. You shouldn't, be a hard person to manage with. The workload that you are implying upon a person, that should be easy. And the feedback, if you have to give feedback, that should also be based on ease and not based on torment. The hadith emphasizes on rejoicing and giving glad tidings. Positive things to look forward to makes work easier. In other words, incentives make a person, work easier. If one is dreading something, it changes one's actions and capabilities. Like if you know that if I do something, if I complete my task on time, my boss or my teacher is going to be really, really happy. They're going to appreciate me. They'll give me a star, or you'll get a bonus if you're working somewhere. These are the type of things, incentives that make things, make you work even easier. But if one is dreading something, if you are dreading the reaction of your teacher, you're dreading the reaction of your boss, it makes working, in fact, it disables one's capabilities basically. There's a hadith to support this your teachings within the Hadith. Be merciful to those on earth, and He who is in the heavens will be merciful to you. Showing mercy to people who are working under you or subservient to you is shown by the Prophet ﷺ throughout his life. The way he treated his companions and his slaves is very observant, is very visible. That he never degraded them, he never shouted at them, he never exploited them. So that's why he was always easygoing. He was a prophet, like a person of status, but he never degraded them. Teachings into action. Muslim leaders and imams should revive their faith by following this hadith. They should gain respect and sincerity from their subordinates. They would gain, in fact, if they renewed their faith by implying this hadith in their lives, they would gain their lost respect, basically. Right now, nobody respects their leaders. Why? Because they've lost their respect. And if they would revive this hadith in their life, they would regain their respect and they would have sincere subordinates. Today, majority of Muslim leaders, governors, imams lack the described qualities in the hadith. That is so for sure. Today, many people lack these qualities. That's why the Muslim Ummah is being destroyed. Today, majority of Muslim leaders, governors, imams lack the described qualities in the hadith, creating a distance between them and the public. Muslims should start changing their attitudes so religion can be spread and governments can survive. Naturally, for religions to be spread and governments survive, if governments carry on with their attitudes, then what will happen? Then, the governments would fall, and as a religion, Islam, that would also become weak. If the hadith is taken to a personal level, then parents, elder siblings should follow the hadith when dealing with the young. Counseling for students should be adopted by teachers instead of giving punishments. That is very important. I counsel all of my students who are my Islamiyat students in school. If instead of a punishment, severe punishment and severe snubbing and taunting, if a child is acting out, then what you can do is sit down and counsel them and ask them, there must be something that is wrong, or why have you just done what you just did? If you ask them in a decent way, they will answer you. Motivational talks should be given to enhance their skills. To enhance whose skills? In other words, your students and your subordinates. Friends should encourage one another in studies and community service, encourage them with ease and encourage them to perform community service. Never alienate or create differences between each other, between students, between colleagues, between community members. Unify your community in good. If you start acting good, your community itself will unify together under you, under your command. Then the question is P2. Question 1. Choose any two of the following hadiths. Describe their teachings about what Muslims believe. Explain how Muslims can put these teachings into action. I hope it has satisfied the question. Then thank you. That's from Islam.